ready to get a body goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live somebody. Let's go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope you're all doing well out there and enjoying your Tuesday. Oh, my Lord. Oh, my good Lord. It is Tuesday. It is Tuesday, dag nabbit. I don't even know what to do with myself right now. It is Tuesday. I hope you guys are all having a blessed one, y'all. Man, it is Tuesday part 2, as some like to say. Tuesday part 2. You know what I'm saying? But, woo, man, there's some things that we got to talk about because there's a lot of things, all right, that have been popping off. I kind of delayed some of the conversation because we have been talking about these particular subjects quite a bit recently, but there has been new developments in regards to the Brian Laundrie case. Yes, I said those words. I know a lot of y'all don't want to talk about it no more. I get it. I thought it was dead in the water. Oh, God. Pun intended, not intended, high key, low key. That was not intended. But hey, we're here for a good time today, but not for a long time. So do me a favor. Before we get started with this conversation, please hit that like button down below. And please do not forget to crush that subscribe button, okay? If this is your first time show, welcome to the Pascal Show. All right, I do this show Monday through Friday, and I try to cover things that are popping off in trending news and whatever that's going on in the world. So as you see down below, there's two main topics that we are going to be talking about today. We got the Brian Laundrie stuff. We got to talk about it because apparently the po-po messed up big time. Okay. And I said I wasn't going to talk about this because people were talking about it yesterday. But then there's been more information revolving around the autopsy. Also more information revolving around the Notebook. No, not that Ryan Gosling movie, but actually the actual book that was in Brian Laundrie's possessions, allegedly. Some of us still feel like that was planted. But yo, we still got to cover it. We still got to talk about it because these things are going on right now. And then, of course, our next topic for the day is going to be Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle did a stand-up yesterday. I couldn't come on to the show. All right. I couldn't come on last night with a pop-up. So I figured, hey, it's an opportunity for us to talk about it today, this morning. And also, I'm going to open up the video chat lines because I want to hear your thoughts on all this. I want to hear your thoughts on the Dave Chappelle thing. So there is quite a bit of things to talk about, a lot of things to cover. So we got to get into some of these stories, y'all. We got to get straight into it. Like I said, I'm not going to be here for a long time, but we're going to be here for a good time today. All right. So we got to jump into this stuff about Brian Laundrie and how the po-po seem to have messed up. They made mistakes. They admitted to making mistakes during the investigation of the Brian Laundrie case. One of them in particular, I found very weird. I found very strange. We're gonna talk about it. And like I said, we will be doing a video chat on the last subject for this morning. And I would love to hear your thoughts about that so we can do a little panel discussion with a gang of all y'all, okay? But one of the things we got to talk about right now is, apparently during the investigation, the police admit to making some mistakes. And I'm just going to let WFLA do their due diligence, do their job, and explain where they effed up. Real talk, because, yeah, they kind of messed up.
A mix-up between Brian Laundrie and his mother that clears up one of the biggest questions in the Brian Laundrie disappearance. Northport police telling WFLA.com they thought that they saw Brian Laundrie returned home with his Ford Mustang here in September, but mistook the driver for someone else. It was actually Brian's mother, Roberta Laundrie.
Like I said, this stuff is going to be pretty quick. Okay, this subject that I'm going to be covering here is going to be pretty quick. Okay, because he has already been found dead. They have already said, "Hey, do your thing." You know what I mean? Ooh, do I have lint on my face? I guess I do. I'll check it in a second. Thank you, Blue True. But anyway, this is important, and I'll take a look in a second. But here it is. You got the police thinking that Brian Laundrie, or thinking that Roberta was Brian Laundrie, returning back with the Mustang. Does that make sense? How does one make that mistake? We're going to play this more, but I'm just saying it's kind of a weird bombshell, don't you think? Out of nowhere, right? They just say this information. Does that make sense? Or was it intentional to have a mix-up happen? You don't think that she put on a hat, baseball cap, and drove his ride? Confusing people that maybe... See, that's the thing. That's the other thing, though, too. Please, somebody math this right for me. How does one who is a grown-ass woman with no sans beard, okay? No beard. She got a full head of hair. I mean, it's short, but she got a full head of hair on the top of her dome. How in the hell do you mistake Brian Laundrie? How the hell do you mistake Roberta for Brian Laundrie? How's that even possible? How's that even possible? I'm going to continue. But like I said, I've been saying it. Man, these T-shirts are going to be coming out here hot and fresh out the kitchen when it does. But the math ain't mathing, y'all. So you're telling me, like I said, you out here in these streets driving your son's car, whom you say left a message, left a letter on the dashboard or on the windshield of the car, basically saying, yo, I'm going to go out and be one with nature. You jump in the car, you drive back, and 5-0 believe it is you, that it is Brian Laundrie. I'm sorry. Wasn't that a plan? Wasn't that the plan, though? Think about it. Was that not the plan? Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense to me, but let's continue.
Breaking it down here live on WFLA Now. Hey there, everybody. JB Buno here with you live for an evening stream here along.
And this was last night, just so you know.
Alongside 8 on your sides, Justin Checker joining us there on the right side of your screen. This answers a big question going back to September. This is one of the top questions that we get here on WFLA Now pertaining to Brian Laundrie's disappearance in September. Of course, we're talking about the Ford Mustang being driven to the Carlton Reserve and coming back. It was the Thursday, September 16th, when Northport Police Chief Todd Garrison in the press conference say that we know where Brian is. The reason that they thought that they knew where Brian was at the time, according to Josh Taylor telling WFLA.com and other media outlets within the last couple of hours, the reason was because that investigators saw someone return home on Wednesday, September 15th in the Ford Mustang. They saw the driver get out with a baseball cap and go into the house. They thought it was Brian Laundrie, when now Northport Police are saying they made a mistake. It was, in fact, Roberta Laundrie, his mother, Justin.
Yeah, obviously, this is the first week once this story broke, JB. It was September 11th is when Gabby Petito is reported missing Now we're talking these days between when she's reported missing, that first week coming under scrutiny. And this is big news, JB, because it's one of the big questions our viewers have had throughout this whole investigation is how did Northport police lose track of Brian Laundrie so quickly? We now know it was that Monday, 2 days after Gabby's reported missing, he went to the reserve to never come home. And now we find out that Wednesday, when the Mustang came back, Northport police mistook the person returning home in the Mustang for his mom. And he was long gone at that point in the park to never come home.
I'm just going to say what everyone else is saying. It's a 23-year-old versus a woman who is literally quite old enough to be his mother. And Roberta, it's not even Chris Laundrie being mistaken for Brian, because they both have very little to no hair on the top of their head. We're talking about Roberta Laundrie, who we have seen has a head of hair on her. So wearing the baseball cap was part of the mix-up here, according to Josh Taylor. First and foremost, let me just talk about Josh Taylor for a second. Okay, he's not the one who made this mistake. Okay, this is now, he represents his department, speaks on behalf of his department, and he's the public information officer. This is him admitting to a mistake made by his department. And the quote that he gave was that they're kind of built similarly, that they have a similar build as far as Brian Laundrie and his mother, Roberta Laundrie. I'll read some more quotes here. When the family reported him on Friday, that was certainly news to us that they had not seen him. We thought that we had seen Brian initially come back into that home on that Wednesday. And the reason that they thought that they saw him, because they thought it was Roberta, or excuse me, they thought it was Brian, and it was in fact Roberta. And that's why Garrison stands up there with the world watching and says, we know where Brian is, because his officer, his department that was there, thought that they saw Brian return home, but it was in fact Roberta. This is a case of mistaken identity by law enforcement, and it's Josh Taylor now, the date being October 25th, 2021. So more than a month later, it's Josh Taylor, facing the music, so to speak, looking into the camera and saying that his department made this mistake, this big mistake that answers a monumental big question that has been looming and been asked repeatedly here on our WFLA Now streams.
And that particular moment was that press conference with Gabby Petito's father, Joseph Petito, that Thursday when he made this passionate plea for help. And then the chief was asked that question. We know, JB, that moment has come under some serious scrutiny, that the chief would say, we know where he is. And it turns out it was a case of mistaken identity now that they're saying they mistook Brian for his mom. And also some more reporting in these last few days since Brian's remains were confirmed to be found. Our colleague over at News Nation, Brian Enton, has reported that police had set up some surveillance cameras around the family home down there on Wabasso Avenue, but they missed him leaving to go to the reserve. So again, this is these first crucial few days, JB, after Gabby is finally officially reported missing that Saturday. By Monday, Brian is long gone to the reserve, and now we know why the chief in that press conference you see on your screen there made this comment about knowing 100% where he is, and turns out they were completely wrong.
Okay. Why does this feel like a subplot line to a really, really bad Lifetime movie? I'm saying it. I'm going to say it out loud because let's be straight funky on this. How does this even happen? All right. This is a woman. It's a grown ass woman. He has a beard with no hair. At least that's what we saw, the last thing we saw of him. Right? How could the po-po make this mistake? Man, do you realize how bad this looks for 5-0? For law enforcement in general. I mean, let alone that it took them forever. I mean, within the conditions and all that stuff, they were able to find him within a month, right? His remains. But if they had known that wasn't him coming back, maybe they would have been able to find him a lot sooner. Five-0 done messed up. And here it is though. I do appreciate them being transparent with their mistakes. But I'll have to say, some higher ups are going to have to start getting, some heads are going to roll. Some people are going to have to resign. Some people are going to have to get fired or resign, because this is the stuff that we don't need to see out in the public eye of making drastic, crucial mistakes. You can't tell me, how can one mistake a grown ass mother, grandmother, by the way, with a 23-year-old bald ass young man? How does that work? How does that work? Somebody needs to resign, somebody needs to quit, or somebody needs to get fired, because clearly this is the kind of thing. This is the transparency. This is the transparency that should not be. Appreciate the transparency, but this is a bad type of transparency. You know what I'm saying? You want the transparency of like, oh, this is what happened during that shooting. Oh, this is what happened when this person went off and did this. No, the cop didn't do that, or the cop did do that. That's those are very, very broad strokes and small examples of being transparent. But saying, oops, we botched this whole thing. Oops, we could have gotten the guy earlier. That's terrible. 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 I'm going to play a little bit more of this, and then I got another video that we got to check out. It's about the autopsy and the Notebook. I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about Brian Laundrie's Notebook. Let's continue.
We're going to feature.
Oh, and hit that like button down below. I see about 400 souls watching the show right now. Hit that like button down below. Send that past. I mean, if you can get it to 200 likes, that would really mean a lot to me. All right. Hit that like button down below. And don't forget to crush that subscribe button. All right.
Your hashtag HeyJB. You see it underneath our names here on the left and right side of your screen. Hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyJustin. As we do here in WFLA Now, we feature what you have to say. We very much care about what you have to say in our social media comment section. We're going to feature your comments in response to this. If you use one of the hashtags, again, it's hashtag HeyJustin or hashtag HeyJB. We can pluck your comment out of YouTube Live at a. And what do you think the response is going to be to this latest report, and really this admission of a mistake by Josh Taylor on behalf of his police department?
Obviously the basis of this conversation, right? The basis of it is the Popo done messed up. They're being obviously transparent about it, saying, "Hey, our bad. We did it wrong." Right? We did it wrong. Our bad. Here's us being transparent. We thought that this was somebody else, but it is not. It actually was his mother. Now, the question remains, was that a planned trick? Or was it an honest thing? Where was it just a mistake from the Popo, from the police, where they shouldn't have done what they did, right? They just saw somebody driving his car, assuming that it was Brian Laundrie. Roberta Laundrie had no hand in trying to throw off the police. Maybe that's the case. Let's look at the innocence of it all as well. What are the chances of her getting the car and just getting the car for the sake of getting the car? Not thinking, oh man, you know what, honey, Christopher? He's like, yeah, Roberta. She's like, our son's car is in the swamp. I just can't stand it. Do you know how expensive that car is? Somebody out there in the swamp is going to take the car. Christopher's like, oh no, honey. Oh, go ahead and get that car. In fact, that's a perfect opportunity to throw off 5-0. You kind of are the same build as Brian. A little bri. Here, put on this baseball cap, put it down real low, like, and go get that car. Because you know what? 5-0 is going to see you, and they're going to automatically think you Brian. You our son. Go ahead and get it, honey. Okay, honey. Roberta, I love you. I love you too, Christopher. That's not going to happen. I don't think it's that. I literally think that they made a mistake, The cops made the mistake. I don't think that they literally said, I don't think Chris and Roberta thought, hey, this is a great opportunity. This is a great opportunity to throw them off even more. I don't think that. I think they just went and got the car. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry for the theatrics, but here it is. I don't think the cops, or I don't think the Laundries planned that out. I think they went to go get the car, and the cops, because of their ridiculousness, they made a mistake. Honestly, I don't think it was a ploy. You see what I'm saying? I really don't think it was a ploy to try to throw people off. Real talk. I really don't. Just saying. I'm sorry. That was just for fun. But at the same time, I really don't think that they're masterminds like that. I don't think they went beyond that. I would feel like the father would be the one more than the mother. You see what I'm saying? Like, you think that they just sat there going, wait a second, you kind of are the same build. Go get the car. Act like Brian for however long that drive is. No, I don't see it. I think this is just showing the incompetence of the police department at that particular time. They made a very, very bad mistake. They didn't do their due diligence to do their research to see what was going on with this situation. That literally was on the police and incompetence. Literally. Not like, ooh, the Laundrie's got him again. No, I don't think that at all. Bruh. Inexperienced police officers, how long have they been in the law enforcement? That's what I'd like to know. Or was it something that was a higher up made the decision, like, yep, that's Brian Laundrie, let's keep going? Just saying. But I can understand why people might be thinking, oh, that was a whole ploy to throw off 5-0. No, I think the 5-0 threw themselves off by their own merit, by their own lack of research and information. That's what I think. So we have another video. We do have another video I want to pull up. And this has to do with the autopsy and all that. But 1 second, I got to do something here. 1 second. By the way, please hit that like button down below. Send that past 200 likes. That would really, really mean a lot. That would be dope. We're working hard out here in these streets. We're only on for a short time. We're here for a good time, like I keep saying over and over again. Okay, but we got this one other piece, and it has to do, this broke just about an hour ago, maybe about 2 hours ago now, where they have been talking about the autopsy and what is inside the notebook. Is the notebook salvageable? Is it not? Are we wasting our time with this or no? Well, we got a little news clip that we need to take a look at. Let's take a gander at this, y'all.
Follow the latest when it comes to the Gabby Petito case and now the autopsy involving the remains of Brian Laundrie. How did Brian Laundrie die? It's a question that will be passed on from the medical examiner to a forensic anthropologist. Well, our Fox 13 Tampa team has been covering every update and development when it comes to this case. Their very own Jennifer Holton spoke with a forensic anthropologist who is kind of weighing in on what could happen from here. Let's take a listen on Live Now from Fox.
The attorney for Brian Laundrie's parents says an autopsy on their son's remains, described as bones by police, did not reveal a cause or manner of death. The remains will be sent to an anthropologist for further testing, a postmortem examination taking into account the bones and any soft tissues that are still present. Laundrie's remains were found in a low-lying area of the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park, where high water had receded. The FBI says the remains were underwater for weeks. USF forensic anthropologist Erin Kimmerly explains the water's effect on decomposition.
Generally, water will slow decomposition. It also prohibits predators and scavenging, which.
One second. I'm going to roll that back because I know that people have been talking about this quite a bit, about the decomposition of the body. But I think she just said something that was very crucial. She just said that the decomposition of his body in water would have slowed down. I just want to roll that back one more time, real quick.
Decomposition. It also
effect on decomposition.
Generally, water will slow decomposition. It also prohibits predators and scavenging, which adds a lot to the rate of decomposition, especially in Florida. Not entirely, but it does prohibit it compared to being on dry ground surface.
Still, she says it's not
So
surprising to hear the remains were skeletal, despite being submerged for weeks in water.
Not in Florida and not this time of year. We can have remains become completely skeletonized within a week on the ground surface. So while water will delay that a little bit, very hot and very wet last couple of months in Florida. And so remains can become skeletonized very quickly.
Anthropologists will also be looking at soil conditions, temperature, and insect activity to help piece together what happened and potentially when Laundrie died. In Tampa, Jennifer Holton, Fox 13 News.
Don't worry, there's more.
Meanwhile, Brian Laundrie's notebook and backpack were also discovered in that Northport Nature Preserve last week, just a few yards away from where his remains were found. Well, though the FBI said the area of the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park where the discovery was made had previously been underwater, investigators say the notebook could provide answers about Laundrie's final days. When asked about the condition of the notebook and whether it had any legible writing in it, Josh Taylor with Northport Police told Fox News Digital, quote, "It appears it may be salvageable. That really is a question for the FBI, though." Chris and Roberta Laundrie visited the park on the day when the skeletal remains and items belonging to their son were found. The Laundries discovered a white bag and a dark-colored object after traveling through a patch of brambles at the edge of the brush at a clearing. They could be seen putting the object into the bag and handing it over to law enforcement officers. We do have a statement saying that Chris and Roberta Laundrie went to the Myakkahatchee Creek Environmental Park to search for Brian. According to family attorney Stephen Bertolino, the FBI and Northport Police Department were informed of Brian's parents' intentions, and they met Chris and Roberta there that morning after a brief search off a trail that Brian frequently went on. Some articles belonging to Brian were found. So that was a look at the nature preserve, the area where the remains were found. So the question continues, will they be able to figure out what exactly happened? We did get news last week that they have not come to a cause of death, a manner of death, because there was so little to what they found. So we'll continue to bring you updates on this case here on Live Now from Fox. It is something that we've been following very closely. Meanwhile, as we continue to touch on Chris and Roberta Laundrie, we actually know that they are grieving in private. They did announce that, or the attorney, Stephen Bertolino, did announce that Brian Laundrie's family is grieving together at an undisclosed location in Florida. So we've been bringing you that Live Now look outside of their home for weeks now, more than a month, but allegedly they are not there. Laundrie's parents, Chris and Roberta, left that Northport home on Sunday.
Real quick, I just want to point something out, okay? Obviously we're hearing that the family is going off to they're grieving right now the death of their son and all that. Obviously there's been footage of the mother. I feel like it's been only like a day or two after they find out the father that Brian is dead. She's rocking full on head to toe black, walking in and out of the house and all that stuff, opening up the windows and all that stuff. Now, the thing is in my personal opinion, they are still human. They still lost their son. They still deserve a right to grieve over the person that they brought into the world, right? Now they have to send that son back out of the world in their own way. So no matter what, I know that there's a lot of people that feel some type of way. Don't get me wrong. We all feel some type of way about this situation, but still, whether or not they were involved with the disappearance of their son, they still like helping him disappear, helping him leave. All right. I don't think that they had their hand in taking his life. Nothing so far is showing that. No clues that we've seen so far are telling me that, at least. All right. I do think that they helped him leave. They clearly helped him leave. And if that is truly the case, still, no matter what, they still deserve the right to grieve over their son. I'll say that. But one thing I want to point out real quick in this photo, take a look at their heads, the back of their heads right here. Remember we were just talking about what we were just covering a little bit earlier, right? She was driving the car. Roberta, was driving the car, and the cops mistook her as Brian Laundrie. Look at these two heads real quick. Mama and Papa Bear. Laundrie. You're telling me that they didn't know? She has a full head of hair. Baseball cap on it. Baseball cap. Both of them are wearing baseball caps, y'all. And you're telling me 5-0 couldn't tell the difference between Brian Laundrie and his mother? I would see more of the father because him bald. She has a full mop on her head. Does that make sense? Someone please explain that to me. Someone talk to me. Does that make sense? No, it does not. Just wanted to point that out. And obviously, the family has gone off to go and mourn, do what they need to do to say their goodbyes to their son and all that, which, in my personal opinion, I think they were already saying goodbye to him a long time ago, but because I'm sure they knew that he was going to go off and do something. If he was that distraught, as the lawyer said, as Baloney Bertolino said, if he was that distraught, you think he was just going to run off forever? I think that the family knew. I think the lawyer knew. The lawyer fully exposes everything in a bunch of different interviews, which we covered. We all covered together on a recent show just a few days ago. Full on admitted that the last time the family saw Brian Laundrie, the last time he even saw Brian Laundrie, he was absolutely in pieces. He was in shambles because of what he allegedly did. Let's just say that. Because of losing his fiance. 5-0 now sits there, and I appreciate it. I saw somebody say something in the comments. I forgot who, because it just blazed right through. But thank you for the comments. Keep the comments rolling. And of course, hit that like button. I see over 600 souls watching this show right now. Please hit that like button. Send it past 300 likes. That would really mean the world to me and to this channel. And if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that you know whenever I go live, you can watch this show in all of its glory, okay? But here it is. You look at the photo, you look at this piece of footage, and you're telling me that they can't see anything. One thing I saw in the comments that I do appreciate, somebody said, hey, if they're not transparent, like we can't always punish the police department for being transparent, or we will never get transparency ever because people will start losing their jobs. I get that. And I appreciate the transparency of their mess up, but that's a very big mess up. And you know for a fact, all of us, not only the people that are sitting there, couch surfing and watching their news, the people who are internet sleuths, the people who are watching the shows and talking about this, the people who are flooding this feed right now, you know for a fact that the general public would already start doing the math and going, wait a second, something's not right here. So he had to get in front of it. He had to get out there and say, listen, we made a mistake. Our bad. We done messed up. We screwed the pooch here, y'all. We screwed the mother-loving pooch. He had to. He had no other choice. Real talk. But to be transparent. Now, what the department out there decides to do with that information is up to them. And it also depends on what the people, the general public in that area, or us, all of us, all over the country, if not the world, are going to say about this, how we are going to feel about this if they don't do anything about them expressing their being candid about their mistake. Let's be real. It all depends on what the general public feel. If the general public's like, okay, this is fine. It's no big deal. People make mistakes. Meh. Bruh, move on. You found the body. He's dead. Him dead. Let's move on. Or there's going to be people going, oh, this is an outrage. How dare you make this mistake? We demand heads to roll, right? We demand somebody to be in the bad, right? Then, boom. Somebody's head is going to roll. Somebody's going to take full responsibility of it. Just saying. Some wild stuff, y'all. Like I said, the story continues on and on and on and on, and the thing is for my own personal opinion, I thought we were going to be done with this already. I'll be real, okay? I'm ready to close this chapter, this book, this story, unless there's something huge that goes on. I mean, the mistake is a pretty big mistake. You can't tell me that Roberta Laundrie looks more like Brian driving a car than the father does. Yet he's bald. They both bald. What the hell? Does that make sense? How does that work? How does that work? To me, that doesn't make sense. Okay? Let it be what it is, but it is what it is and all that. But at the same time, we will see what happens with the rest of this as things continue, because we're not going to get the full answer of everything as of yet. We won't. Not yet, at least. But in no way, shape, or form can you mistake a bald 23-year-old man with I don't even know how old she is, but female, full head of hair grandmother. Was that part of their plan? I don't think so. Personally, I don't think that was the Laundrie's plan to throw them off. If they really wanted to throw them off, then it would. And if we wanted us to be sitting there going, "Oh, something's not right here," you know what would have happened? it would have been Brian's dad driving that car. It would have been Christopher Laundrie. I honestly think that the mom went to go get the car and drive it back, and that's it. While they were still trying to figure out how to give their son time to run off. Just saying. One day at a time. I'm watching Clickbait and You on Netflix. I feel this whole thing is made up. That's after watching Clickbait and You. You know, isn't it funny? Like I said, it feels like we're watching some really bad Lifetime movie. Literally. I don't know. All of it's not, none of it is working for me. None of it's working for me. I'm with it. Like I'm with the story. I'm with what's going on and all that stuff, but none of this is making sense. And you're right, Wintermute, right? He's dead. It's over. Yeah, I agree. But then it's like, oh, wait, the police come out and say, whoops. Hi. Whoops. Like, bruh, for real? Whoops. For real, though? What? Okay. But this is our world we live in right now, y'all. Anyway, we got to jump into our next story. We definitely got to jump into our next story. And this all revolves around Dave Chappelle and the situation that happened last week. I mean, it's been happening for weeks now, all right? His last and final stand-up with his deal with Netflix called The Closer just dropped a few weeks ago. And a lot of people are feeling some type of way. Certain groups, let's just say that. Certain groups are feeling some type of way. Feeling some type of way about his stand-up. Now, LGBTQ or the trans community and members of the LGBTQ plus community have been, very much being extremely vocal about how transphobic the rhetoric and the words, the stuff that he's saying in this stand-up, in this recent stand-up called The Closer. And in this stand-up, he says, this is the last time I address anything that revolves around the trans community. Here's what I got to say. Well, that obviously did not make people feel any better. Certain groups feel any better. People got very upset about it to the point where members of the trans community and the LGBT community that worked with Netflix said, hey, I am walking out. We are going to walk out on this particular day. Okay. So with that being said, they did a walkout. A lot of people were very upset. Somebody who is a part of the trans community said, hey, I reached out to Dave Chappelle asking to have an audience with him to talk to him and explain to him why his stand-up was so bad. And they said he refused to show up. Now, what's interesting is what Dave Chappelle says. He has finally come out just yesterday to say something about this, about the accusations, about the walkout, about the protests out of Netflix headquarters, all that. Now, the thing is I'm going to say this. I can't show you the video, but I could play a little bit of the video. You see what I'm saying? So I wanted to get that up for you guys so that we can take a listen to it for ourselves. But real quick, this is what I find very interesting because he said that he has a list. He's down to be there. He's down to do a meeting. He says this in the thing, but he has a list of demands, right? So comedian Dave Chappelle said Monday he'd be willing to meet with transgender employees of Netflix who have called for the streaming platform to remove his October comedy special, The Closer. So he said, hey, I'm down to meet, but on my own terms. And here are my terms. So I'm going to play the audio. Like I said, prick up your ears because this is only audio. I can't play the video, unfortunately. You know how it is because of copyright-ish. But I'm not going to play the whole thing, but there's some pieces in here that I think we all need to listen to. And I want to hear your thoughts on his whole opinion, his whole list of demands, and all that. So without further ado, let's take a listen to this, shall we?
It's been said in the press that I was invited to speak to the transgender employees at Netflix, and I refuse. That is not true. If they had invited me, I would have accepted it, although I am confused about what we're speaking about. I said what I said, and boy, I heard what you said. My God, how could I not? You said you want a safe working environment at Netflix. Well, it seems like I'm the only one that can't go to the office anymore.
Interesting.
That it's me versus that community. That it's me. Even though the media frames this, that it's me versus that community. It's not what it is. Do not blame the LGBTQ community for any of this shit. This has nothing to do with them. It's about corporate interests and what I can say and what I cannot say.
You know, this is very interesting, right? He says it has nothing to do with the community. It has to do with corporate interests and on what he can and cannot say. And let's be real. He's not going to sit here and bow down if it's that deep. If it's about the power of him being able to speak his mind, the power of free speech, the power of being controlled on what you can and cannot say once you go onto a stage or onto a platform, right? I feel like he's opening up a bigger can of worms or bigger discussion than just him talking about the LGBTQ plus community. I feel like now he's going, this is bigger than that now. I may have been making jokes and talking about the trans community, but now this has turned into something deeper. Like somebody open up a can of worms. And now they're trying to stop me from being me. Stop me from being able to speak my mind. Now, this is just me translating this. I have not said whether I agree or don't agree. I'm just trying to translate just a little bit. Like I said, I feel like what he's doing and what he's trying to say is now this whole thing has turned into something really big. And it touches upon a much larger subject, especially an individual who only gets on, that's what he does for a living. He gets on a microphone and he talks. And now he's going, well, wait a second. So you're going to have all these powers that be tell me whether I can or cannot speak my mind just because they sign my checks? Now I can't do what I usually do, which is speak freely onto a microphone? Like he said, or like what I'm taking from this little stand up here is that he's saying this is a much bigger conversation than what it was before.
For the record, and I need you to know this, everyone I know from that community has been nothing but loving and supporting. So I don't know what all this nonsense is about. In summer 2020, when the whole world shut down, I was outside doing shows. My neighbor had a cornfield and he let me throw shows there, and people came from all over the country. Some people came from around the world to see those shows. The best comedians on earth came to my home and broke bread with me. And we lived our lives. We found a way to keep moving forward. I made a whole documentary about it. The first night of those shows was a piece that some of you might have seen. It was called 846, and it dealt with the murder of George Floyd.
Let me get straight to this. He does later on explain that this documentary that he's doing right now is being banned from all festivals right now, that it's a documentary that shows the entire experience of him creating these 5 stand-up shows, and now they're getting declined at film festivals. But of course, I'm trying to get to the conditions part, right?
And now, today, not a film company, not a movie studio, not a film festival, nobody will touch this film. Thank God for Ted Sarandos and Netflix. He's the only one that didn't cancel me yet. And if you want to meet with me, I'd be more than willing to, but I have some conditions.
Hold on, let me roll that back.
Summon the community. To the transgender community, I am more than willing to give you an audience, but you will not summon me. I am not bending to anybody's demands. And if you want to meet with me, I'd be more than willing to, but I have some conditions. First of all, you cannot come if you have not watched my special from beginning to end.
I think that's a very important piece right there. I do think that. I think that, number one, I think there's a lot of people out here, a lot of people that have been seeing just clips online and getting outraged by those clips. I do think that there are not a lot of people that have really given it a chance, have sat down and actually watched the stand-up. Like I've said before, I think a lot of people are not seeing the forest through the trees. They're not seeing the message, they're just seeing the jokes. But the message is wrapped in the stories containing those jokes. Whether you like those jokes or not, I think that people are not seeing the forest through the trees, or they're not willing to watch the whole damn thing. And then they're automatically going, oh, it's such and such. Oh, he's such and such. Well, we don't know that for sure. You can't say that you know that for sure if you haven't seen the entire piece. Like, that's the one thing that drives me nuts more than anything in the world, is when you sit there and you do, say, a show, like I do a video, right? I do a pop-up video, which I haven't really done one in a while. But when I do those pop-up videos, people will see my teaser comment right in the very beginning, the intro. Maybe they'll listen for 3 seconds, the next few words that I say pertaining to the article that I'm talking about or the subject matter that I'm talking about. And they automatically go down to the bottom of the comments trying to troll or try to be a jerk or try to knock me down without even actually having a chance to watch the whole freaking video. Yes, I understand. Sometimes these videos are they're sometimes long. I get it. Sometimes you don't have 10 minutes to sit down and listen to a video and listen to some commentary. I get that. But when you only hear the first few seconds, or you just read the title or what it says on the thumbnail, and you just start throwing out, oh, you're this, that, and the third, it's like, bro, sit down. Listen to what I'm saying. Watch the whole thing before you start throwing in your judgment. And I feel like that's exactly what Dave is saying right here, too. It's like, yo, take the time to watch it. Take the time to take a look at the show, at the full piece, and then come to me with something. Then come to me and let me know what you think. But everyone's so quick to be the first person to say something on a subject matter, to have the most bombastic, most salacious ideas about it. And it's like, well, hey, if you took the time, instead of being so focused on being the first to come out with that information, you might have gotten the message. Maybe. Or at least it would open up a discussion that you can have with people. A real discussion. Like, shout out to Lady J, Brianne. She watched the whole thing 3 times. She watched it 3 times because she didn't want to miss one little piece, one little nuance of anything. She wanted to make sure that she was listening to it thoroughly. And then she had her own personal opinions. Then she came up with her own conclusion. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that you have to watch a comedy show 3 times. It's just comedy. That's what I think. It's just comedy. But at the same time, you can still walk away with a message if you actually are listening to the stand-up. I'm going to continue. That's only condition number 1, by the way. He just says, it's as simple as this. I need y'all to watch the special through and through, cover to cover. Don't just hop to the middle part or, where he says, gender is a fact and all that stuff. Watch the whole thing as he exercises thought. That's the whole point, right? He's up there working it out in front of everybody and talking about it with his people, with his peers, with his family. Let's continue.
You must come to a place of my choosing at a time of my choosing.
I don't blame him. You never know. He might be like, all right, I'll go meet with you, and he gets jumped. I'm just saying, I don't blame him for saying, hey, you meet me at my place. You meet me at a place of my choosing at a time at my choosing. I mean, you never know. There's some angry people out here. He don't want to die. So I don't blame him for thinking this.
And thirdly, you must admit that Hannah Gadsby is not funny.
Joke.
I desperately want people to see this movie. But I understand why investors would be nervous. Since nobody will touch it, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will make it available for all of you in 10 American cities.
Okay, so then obviously after that, he goes in and he says, hey, there's a couple other things. He has a documentary, like I said before, where it is just covering everything, where it's covering his life during his life and the behind the scenes stuff, making these 5 specials and what it was like to do everything from the first special, Sticks and Stones, all the way to the closer. I mean, it has been a couple years of him talking about these specific subjects and doing these specials. So it's a years long experience that he's putting together into a documentary. And he's been invited many, many times for his other films at film festivals. But because of what's been going on, the backlash and the stuff that's been revolving around, the negativity that's been revolving around his recent stand-up, The Closer, a lot of these film festivals are not allowing him to come in because they don't want to represent or endorse something that the community is saying is phobic, right? So, of course, he's like, F it. I'm just going to do my own tour. I'm going to have people come in. They're going to pay for tickets to see the documentary, and I'm going to make my money back that way. And hey, if that's how it is, that's how it is for him, right? But like I said, I was going to open up the video chat lines. I haven't done that in a while. No phone calls, but maybe, well, I'm going to try the video chat line first. If it doesn't work, then I'm going to open up the phone lines. But I want to hear your thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on his response? Do you like it? Do you not? Does it suffice? Could he have done better? What are your thoughts? Oops. There we go. Let's see. Where is it? There we go. The link is pinned to the top. And like I always say, hey, you don't have to be on camera to be on video in the panel. You could just do it like you're on the phone, okay? But there is the StreamYard link. Click on it, jump on. I would love to hear your thoughts on this, y'all. You know, this is the time to have an open discussion. Have that throw in your 2 cents. You know, it's time for a little speak on it, y'all. So, what are your thoughts on this? Are you with it? Are you not with it? My thing is with this his whole response, the one thing that really took my attention or grabbed my attention is the part that he said, number one, first things first. I need everybody to go. If you're going to want to sit down to talk to me about this, you need to go and watch the entire the entire stand-up from beginning to end. Not, hey, I watched the last 20 seconds of it and how dare you? Or I saw a clip on Instagram and there was that one joke. How dare you be so such and such on this? No. Watch the whole thing. And I'm with him on that. It's countless videos, countless situations that have happened where people have taken what I've said or what anybody else has said out of context and just try to drag them through the dirt with that stuff. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. We got Lauren C. in the house. What's up, Lauren?
Hey, how are you?
I'm very, very good. What's on your mind? Speak on it. Wait, by the way, where are you speaking in from?
What's up, Lauren? Sorry, I got you on the back. So
okay. Oh, I'm on the TV. Look at that. Look at that. I'm on the TV. I feel good right now. Yeah. Where you video chatting in from?
Dallas.
Oh, Dallas. Yes. So what's on your mind? What do you think? What are your thoughts on this? Speak on it.
Well, first off, I want to say we spoke before about the
yes, we have.
We spoke before about the Brother Polite stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I also want to say I actually realized that I found you through your sister. So big ups to her. But yeah, I've been following your sister forever. So big ups to her. She's a doll, and she actually helps me find my foundation. So.
Oh, that's.
But anyway, but yeah, so about the Dave Chappelle stuff, I'm a Dave Chappelle fan. I've watched Dave Chappelle since before the Dave Chappelle show. And I watched all of the specials. So I think that it's a good point to say that you have to watch every single one, not just the last one. You have to watch all three. Because it gives a story. They go together. And without watching the whole context of all of them, you're missing out on a lot. People are missing out on a lot of points that he's talking about. But one of my thoughts about the trans thing, I support the LGBT, all of them, every letter, especially the trans community. However, I feel that this was someone who was just looking at a tree and not looking at the forest. Because he did make I will say to their defense, he did make an incorrect point. Gender is not a fact. Sex is a fact. I think that was just a slip of the tongue. I think is what he was trying to say was sex is a fact. Like, what you're born with, your genitalia is what it is. But your gender is a social construct. I feel that personally, as a cisgendered woman, I don't like that term, but that's a term that's been assigned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't follow the cis thing, but as a cisgendered woman, another question that we have to ask is, was this all of the trans community or just trans women? And I bring that question up because I know, I have friends who are trans men and they didn't find any problem with this special. But I have two friends who are trans women and they had an issue. So it's like, my question to them and to everyone is, where is this really stemming from, really? Because it just seems to me that when it comes to the trans community, it seems to me that there's one group of the two that's really given an uproar about trans rights, or don't talk about us in this way. You can't talk about us at all. And it seems that it's mainly trans women who are saying this and not necessarily trans men. And I'm wondering if that's stemming from, and hear me out, if it's stemming from misogyny. And, you know, because it just seems as if trans women they want to come into our space, which is fine. Come into our space. We're here, you know. However, they want to change our space. They want to change, you know, how things are communicated. It seems like the trans women part of the group is the loudest group. And I'm wondering where that's coming from. As a man, men are, you know, men from birth are, you know, given, you know, the societal norms that they're the leaders, they're control, you know, don't talk about men, don't talk about anything of that nature, you know, like they're the power structure. I'm wondering if those thoughts, you know, that men are over women, that get taught through TV and things like that, does that get translated into a trans woman's mind when it comes to these type of issues? I just noticed that trans men are not really, I haven't noticed, are really saying these type of things or are so upset about, you know, misgendering is wrong, but they're not so upset about, you know, they don't push. I don't see trans men pushing to be in male spaces as much as the opposite group. And I also don't notice them screaming and yelling. Like I don't have, like the people who are going up about this whole issue with Dave Chappelle, I didn't see any trans men really, you know, voicing these opinions. So it just makes me wonder, like, where is it really stemming from? Where is it really coming from? And, you know, if you're trans, you're trans. That's who you are. But I don't think that saying a joke about someone's being trans, just a joke. Because, I mean, Dave Chappelle makes fun of everyone. He makes fun of Black people, white people, Puerto Ricans. He had a whole show making fun of Puerto Ricans and how much they love leopard. So it's like he makes fun of everyone. So it's like, why? You know what I'm talking about. Leopard,
I know exactly.
Leopard.
Yeah, it just hit me. Sorry.
Yeah, he had a whole show about making fun of how Puerto Ricans love leopard. So it's like, if everybody else can be made fun of and be made a joke, why can't this group? Why can't this specific group? And then also it's like, what he was really saying was that it's ironic that Black issues and Black things or Black concerns, you know, we're told to shut up. We're told, you know, this ain't this ain't that. But when it comes to a trans issue or a trans group, they're protected to the point where you can't even mention anything about them, or it's going to be taken down. There's a protest. And I think that is unfortunate that people can't see that comparison. He was really talking about how the baby killed a Black person,
right?
Murdered them, right? He killed a Black person, murdered them, and that was before his career blew up. That was like at the very beginning. He blew up and now he's a multi-platinum star. But when he makes a tasteless comment, he's canceled for that, but he's not canceled for the murders. They're not canceling rappers for killings. They're not canceling rappers for, you know, if you kill someone or you kill someone who's Black or a Black woman or you disrespect a Black woman, you're put to the top of the pedestal. However, if you do the same thing to another group, you're not. And it's just like, it's unfair and it's unfortunate that we have to think of things that way. But I think that the trans group was too busy worried about the word trans and what he was talking about than worrying about what he was really saying. What he was really saying was that if one group is protected, we're all should be protected if we have a protected group by the law. And as African Americans or Black people, we are in a protected group. So it's like, if you can crack a joke and talk about us and do Black fishing and everything else, then shouldn't everybody be given the same pokes that everybody else is getting?
Wow. That
was a lot, but yeah.
That was a lot. It's okay. I've been talking for an hour, so thank you for that. I'll say this though. You ain't wrong with the things that you're saying right now. With what you were breaking down. I'm sorry, I'm going back at the very tail end of what you just said here. You did unpack a lot of stuff. It is interesting. No. Let me go back. You said a lot, and I don't mean that in a bad way. You were just dropping serious bombs, like you could walk off the stage and drop the mic kind of thing situation. Shoot, another Breon on my hands. Thank you. Another Lady Justice on my hands. But
I love her. She's amazing.
Yeah, she dope. No, I'm just kidding. She's incredible. Shout out to Lady Justice. I see her in the chat. But anyway, okay. So when it comes to this, yes, I have noticed that when it comes to the trans community, I've been seeing more trans women reacting to this than actual trans men as well. So I do agree with that. But yeah, you were just talking about masculinity, or what was the word that you said? I'm sorry. What was
misogyny?
The word? Misogyny. Thank you. See these words. You see these words. They seem to escape me every time. Misogyny that was going on. Now, when it comes to the baby, for example, right? You know, when he did what he did I think it was in a, I thought he killed somebody in a Walmart or a Target or something like that. But
Walmart.
Anyway, it was in a Walmart. Thank you. So he did what he did. The funny thing is the world is not up in arms. The world did not care, because that is a sign of masculinity, like black masculinity. This is the world that we live in, right? To be a hip hop star, you can't just be some guy who, you know, you got to have some sort of rap sheet. If you've noticed, you see what I'm saying? You got to have you got to have a few notches in your belt, earn your stripes when it comes to, you for the streets, then you got to be about the streets, right?
Yeah, either a thug or a whore. Facts.
So, don't get me started. That's another conversation, another time. Trust me. All right. But that's the stuff that is the stuff that is being perpetuated. That's the stuff that's being thrown in and thrust into our faces, into our minds. So whenever we think about the baby or any other rap star that's out there, they all got to have some sort of rap sheet. They all got to have some tarnished past. Some of them have muerte in their rap sheet as well, like the baby. And you're right. As soon as he started saying some crazy stuff during that Rolling Loud concert and all that, next thing you know, he is being canceled. Why are we not focusing on the things that he should be canceled for, so that he doesn't go onto that stage saying those things in the first damn place? Why? Because of this misogyny, because of this whole thing of what I guess society wants a black man to be like. If you are not fully a black man if you ain't doing this, and this. If you, so on and so forth. Like I said, you said a lot, and we can go down this rabbit hole really, really deep into this rabbit hole, but I liked what you were dropping here. But the thing that I feel Dave Chappelle was saying, because I think that everything he does, he's thinking about it. He thinks about it thoroughly. You know, he's probably smoking that blunt, you know, and just sitting there just writing things out and just thinking deep into his stuff. There's double, triple, quadruple meanings in the things that he's saying. So when it comes to the baby thing, yeah, it's like, why is everybody pissed off about this when he done all this other stuff before too? Like
he punched a woman on that was recorded. That he didn't get canceled for that. So it's like
no one cares about any of that stuff. So that's why it's like interesting that then he starts to talk about this group of people, which is not the only group of people, which is true. It's not the only group of people that he has gone after. Real talk, he's gone after so many groups. No one is safe with Dave Chappelle. He makes fun of his, like he's making fun of his own people. He
makes fun of me.
He's making fun of everybody. You know what I'm saying?
He made fun of me. So that's why I'm just like, so it's just like, he literally told me that I was that he told that I went to one of his shows years ago.
So he roasted you.
He roasted me. Yeah. So I went to his show twice that year. And the second year, it was during the Oddball comedy show. This was some years ago. And I was sitting in the front row at the second show. And he told the security to look to make sure I wasn't smuggling stuff in my chest. So then he went on a whole rant about big boobs. And so he talked about, he said that I was probably smuggling drugs and liquor with my chest. So I laughed about it, but and then he talked about, big breasted women for about 5 minutes. And then he went on, but like he roasted me and I laughed about it. That's what I get for wearing a low cleavage shirt in the front of a Dave Chappelle show.
Right. I was going to say low cleavage shirt. Were you in the front row?
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I mean, you never go in the front row. Oh man, I got an Aries Spear story that's just absolutely amazing. But that's another story in itself. No one is safe. If you're sitting in the front row, you are asking for it, right? But that's the thing. That's comedy, as MJ2D just said. That's comedy. Comedy is supposed to be having fun. You know, it's supposed to be a safe space, a safe platform in which you can say whatever the hell you want, speak your mind, but keep, you know, some of it is crass, right? But it is a whole thing of punching down that people do not like. Now, some people are saying that he was punching down during this whole thing. I didn't see it on this one. Maybe in the other ones, sure, I could see some moments there. But this particular one, I feel like he was punching up. But I do have somebody else here on here too. Shelby Downer. Shelby, hello.
Hi.
How you doing? Thank you so much for video calling in. Where are you calling in from? Hello?
Right. Oh yeah.
Where you calling in from?
I'm calling from Fresno, California.
Fresno, California.
I'm getting a real like bad back feed of some sort where I can still hear you as I'm talking. Am I doing something wrong?
No, you're good. What is on your mind? Speak on it.
Okay. Well, my thing is just Chappelle. He's a comedian. I think comedians have always pushed the limit and pushed the line. They have been, I mean, look at George Carlin. I'm sorry, I'm still hearing myself the feedback, so
Are
like
you
really hard for me to continue talking.
are you on speaker?
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Are you on speaker?
Yes, I am.
Okay, turn off the speaker. Maybe that's what it is.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry.
It's all right. These things do happen.
Okay, hopefully that's better now. I can still hear myself, but I'm going to try to bypass it. Just my point is that Chappelle's a comedian. Comedians have always seemed to push the limit, push the line, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. I think that we need to do that. In order to talk about certain subjects that may be uncomfortable for others, that maybe some others people don't understand. However, they really need to listen to what he is saying. If you listen to him in Sticks and Stones, this is exactly what he's talking about. Judging somebody for what they're saying, I don't know. I mean, for me, it's just like, if you don't like it, then don't listen to it.
Right. And I totally agree with that. I think that one thing that he is bringing to the table is having these uncomfortable conversations. And I've said it before. Right. We did have a discussion about this with about a week ago. We had a discussion about this whole Dave Chappelle situation. Then I had a conversation with a member of the trans community on the show, where we just had a back and forth, open discussion about this. And one of the things I did say during the conversation was this: well, we are talking about this right now, live on a show. You are a member of the trans community, a very active member of the trans community. And we are having now I hate using the two, Lauren C, but that cisgender male. I'm a cisgender male, okay? I'm a straight male, heterosexual male, all right, having a conversation with a member of the trans community, right? Which maybe, well, because my show is me, you know what I mean? So I will have these kind of conversations with any or everybody. I don't care, all right? No, I do care. That's why I do have these conversations with people. But having this open conversation with other people on a platform for everyone else to listen to and actually talk about these issues within and out, inside and outside the trans community would not be happening if we were not talking about the Dave Chappelle stand-up. So at the end of the day, didn't the stand-up serve its purpose, right? We're supposed to be having these uncomfortable conversations at some point in our life. the only way we're going to be able to expand is to be able to expand our minds and expand thought and conversation. If we stay in our little bubbles, there's no way of expansion. There's no way of growth, right?
Right.
And growth
Once your mind is closed, it's closed. You can't open your mind to others and other people's opinion if your mind is closed.
Yes, absolutely. And growth is supposed to be uncomfortable to a certain extent, right? If you are working out, if you're working out,
over the years.
right? If you're working out and you want to get bigger muscles, you're going to be sore, right? If you want to be a track runner, or you want to run, a marathon and you've never done it before, you're going to be sore as hell. Let me just tell you that. You're going to be so. Spoiler alert, it's going to be uncomfortable as F. All right. But what's the whole purpose though, right? You endure the pain, so that you can be better at that particular thing, so that your body can what? Grow. So when it comes to these kind of conversations, yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's painful. Yes, maybe you might sound maybe not wanting to sound like, but you might sound a little phobic in some sort of way. But if you're willing to open up and say, hey, I'm saying these things, I'm sorry for saying these things, but I want to have this conversation with you or this group of people, so that you can expand yourself, to transcend, to better oneself. If we don't have those things, then we all might as well just live in our little shoe boxes and shut the hell up. No conversation could ever exist on any platforms. There should not be any talk shows. There should not be any news shows. Nothing. We should just be keeping it to ourselves in our little bigoted worlds. But Shelby, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think if you close, like I said, you close your mind, then you're closing yourself off to learning a lot more about somebody else and how they feel and where their opinions are coming from.
Absolutely. Lauren
And I think it's absolutely important to have empathy and sympathy, which we seem to lack a lot these days.
Say that last part again.
I think we lack a lot of empathy and sympathy for others these days. And
I feel like, I'll say
we all
this.
Sensitive, but yeah.
There we go. I was gonna be like, well, I feel like we're hypersensitive nowadays, more than ever before, because we have our QWERTYs. We have our QWERTY keyboards right in our fingertips, right? And we can voice our opinions and say what we want to say at the drop of a dime through our twits or through our Facebook statuses or IG updates and all that stuff. This is a lot more complicated being on YouTube, but I mean, you can easily just jump onto somewhere and speak your mind, right? But yeah, there is a lot more sensitivity. So I see what you're saying on that. Hey, Lauren, what are your thoughts on this?
I think, Shelby, you hit the nail on the head. And there's another thing about comedy. So,
girl, you too. I'm down with you, Lauren.
Well, thank you. But here's another thing. Comedy has always been since the beginning of time. So we're going back to the theater where they had the frown face and the happy face. But way back to then, comedy has always been used as an avenue to be able to open up discussion, but use humor to open up someone's mind. Once you're laughing, you're more open to receiving information when you're happier than when you're sad, right? So comedy is used to crack that, basically you're trying to crack that egg by getting them to laugh. And then you start to fill them with, then you either fill them or you just discuss what that topic is. But once you have, laughter there, it breaks down that barrier of animosity, nervousness that you have when you're going into, let's say, a speech or something like that you're just receiving information. However, when you're getting a comedy show, you're laughing, you're not only just laughing at yourself, you're laughing at everything. And that also gives you, like I said, it opens up an avenue for you to receive a different point of thought. Now, I mean, comedy is just that. It's just comedy. Now, I can see if he said something, and also going back to his previous special, the title was called Sticks and Stones. And if that phrase it means sticks and stones may break your bones, but words would never hurt you. So I don't, that's what I was raised by. I'm a millennial. I was raised by that sentiment. My grandmother raised my mother that way. So it's just like, they can say whatever they want, but as long as they don't physically hurt you. My concern with this is that now we're spinning this to a way where they're saying that words mean violence. And I don't agree with that. A word is not violence. Now, a threat of violence is a threat of violence. But someone just saying that, I think his last joke was, I'm going to tell when I meet her daughter, I'm going to tell her daughter that she was an amazing father. Okay. Those are words. That's not violence. That's not saying that, hey, we're going to hang up people from trees. That's not saying we're going to shoot these people. He never said in that comedy special anything violent. But just because he happened to poke at, how the trans community treated this woman, because no one's talking about that. No one's talking about how this particular woman that he is talking about in this special, this trans woman, actually supported Dave Chappelle and tweeted about it. And she got drugged so bad that she killed herself. She took herself out. That is what happened. And no one is talking about that. They're only talking about Dave Chappelle and what he said. But what are you not keeping track of your own community?
Actually,
because based on what happened, this woman supported him from his last special. You guys ripped her up to the point where she offed herself. It's like, where is that conversation? It's like how is Dave Chappelle a bully when the actual bully in this story was her own community? They bullied her to the point where she's no longer in existence.
You want to know something really funny? I just wanted to jump in here really quick. The narrative on that is really messed up as well. I just want to break that down for you guys really quick. Yes, she was dragged on the internet, dragged on Twitter, because she was defending Dave, basically. But what's funny is you'll see other stories that they say, oh, well, she was on here, she was roasted, therefore she took her own life. Great job, Dave Chappelle, great message. And it's like, wait a second, did you hear the stand-up? At the end of the day, did you hear the damn stand-up? Right. Clearly you did not when you are giving it bullets. You're literally giving bullets in a tweet that is as callous and as cold as, oh, the reason why she took her own life is because of him. And it's like, no, it was because of the cancel culture that was going after her because she was defending Dave Chappelle. That's what's so messed up about the narrative of this whole thing.
Yeah,
the narrative is not the narrative.
People can. It seems to me that the trans community can bully anyone, including their own community, and not get no reprimanded. Nothing. No one says anything. But if someone that is outside that community says something, then it's all hell broke loose. It's the end of the world. And it's just like I've been called by trans women who are not my friends, just women who are out, just people who are out. I've been called fish. I've been called, they talk about us like dogs. Nikita Dragon, are we not forgetting what just happened last month with Nikita Dragon or earlier this month? Did that just go away? Because it's like this woman made a music video. Yeah, Nikita Dragon is an Instagram, she was a YouTube beauty influencer. She doesn't make too much YouTubes anymore, but she's trans. We saw her whole transition on YouTube. Nikita Dragon wants to be a pop star now. Great for her. But she came out with a video just last month called D-I-C-K. And D-I-C-K, Pascal, it's on YouTube, you can find it. D-I-C-K, where the song is talking about how everybody wants to be her and, all this stuff. She's talking her ish. But in the video, she's showing cisgendered, and I hate that, but she's showing cisgendered women with the word D-I-C-K over their faces and over their bodies.
So the acronym, basically. So D period I period C.
I'm saying the acronym because I don't want to mess up your YouTube.
Oh, I see what you said. Thank you. I
but it said
an acronym. Okay.
Yeah, so it was that word on their private parts. And this video was also mixed and these images were mixed in with also trans women. So someone who may not know Asian the Brat, someone who may not know these women are going to think, wait, since she's putting the word D on their private parts, are they trans? It's but no one says anything about that. In that video, she outed men who were supposed to be in her DMs And she also had a tweet brigade afterwards saying that she's never seen a cisgendered woman who looks as good as a trans woman, that we're jealous of them, that trans women have created everything, just going nuts on the internet. And it's like a few people talked about that. Oh, 2 weeks later, Dave Chappelle's special comes out, and now it's all uproar. But this woman made a full music video that went viral and then went on tweets, degrading and talking about women, cisgendered women and Black women in particular, and no one says anything. I'm tired as a Black woman to be the butt of everybody's joke. I'm tired of it. I'm tired. I'm a plus size woman. I'm tired of pulling up TV and seeing Lizzo getting dragged every single day, and no one says anything to these people. But if Lizzo was trans, then the whole world would stop and everybody would be canceled and everybody would lose their bag. But it's like, but Black women, can be the butt of every single joke. You go on TikTok, there's genres of people who are online pretending to be me in some way or the other. Either they're being sassy, they're wearing long eyelashes, they're being a caricature of a Black woman, and that's okay. But if someone makes a joke about a situation that happened to a trans woman who was his supporter, and jokes that he already admitted to that she was comfortable with, we're skipping that point. She was comfortable with these jokes. She didn't find any offense to these jokes. She was laughing at these jokes herself. So it was like, where is the disconnect here?
Right.
If I'm offended and I say, I don't like how y'all always making fun of Black women and how we're caricatures online for everybody to come up. Everybody comes up off a Black woman and they drop their Black scent when they get on, and then it's something different. But it's like, you can be a caricature of me, but I can't even mention you. Where's the fairness in that?
Especially when it comes to stand-up comedy, for sure. Let me throw it over to Zachary Hunt, because there's a couple of people who haven't spoken yet. So Zachary,
I gotta drop. I'm about to go. I gotta go to a meeting, but I just want to say I love your show. I love everyone here. I'll be in the chat, kind of sneaking.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Appreciate
Lauren, you're awesome.
Thank you, Zachary.
Thank you. Bye, y'all.
Zachary, we got some other news callers. Zachary, what's up, man? Hello, Mr. Zachary Hunt. I guess we lost him. Laura Estrada, what's up?
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking.
So what's on your mind? Speak on it.
Oh, well, I'm going to kind of stir it up here a bit. So looking in the live chat, I've kind of had this observation that a lot of, I'll say old school, and I'm trying to get used to saying, I say heterosexual, but I'm trying to learn how to say, say gendered men. So I'm going to try to use that here. That they seem to be uncomfortable with any sort of trans kind of languaging, as I've noticed a pattern of just having a hard time for certain men to process how trans women identify themselves. So regarding the Chappelle thing, where I can see in the chat that it starts to not be about the Chappelle thing, it starts to be a discussion of just this uncomfortable place. So I want to reach out or understand from your point of view because some people, we're learning here, and some people are more comfortable and some people aren't, and it's a very personal thing. But what can make them comfortable, or what do they need to make them more comfortable to understand more like a trans view? Because I feel like it's like this little thing that hinders major progression or moving forward, because you as a person are trying to come to terms of how you personally feel. We all change. That's why we're learning from each other, and we use our empathy to put ourselves in others' shoes. And I think because sometimes people have such a personal conviction about how they feel, and you think you're so progressive, and you really, but something triggers something in you that you aren't comfortable with, and then people right there, they stop being allies, they stop being activists. And I just need to know, because we all want to move forward. We want to recognize our trans brothers and sisters, but we need to also understand. And so there's becoming this huge, separation, and there's these battles we all have, but that's not helping it. We need to understand each other more. And we're having a great conversation. It's going all over the place. And what do you think Chappelle was doing? He wanted to trigger this. He wants to create controversy so that we have these conversations like right now. That's the genius of this man. He is if you know his background, he comes from activism. He comes from a place where he has a different type of calling, and he's grown as a comedian, and he is pushing the limits, because that's the only way all of us are going to move forward. We progress, and it's like right in front of our face, but we're so mixed up in counterculture and social media and fake news that the message is getting so that's my thought.
No,
And I think I agree.
Oh.
I agree. I think your opinion. Yeah, I'm sorry, Pascal.
No, it's okay, Shelby. Go ahead.
So-
Say what you need to say. It's all good. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just people coming in with maybe more of an open mind. Try not to put your thought into it before you listen to somebody else.
Exactly.
I think, yeah. I mean, I think that's the whole purpose, right? The whole purpose of that conversation or his monologue, because really, yes, there was comedy in it, but I felt like it was more of an exercised stream of consciousness. Right there in front of people. Obviously, is something that he is. Like, it's not like he just went up there and just shot from the hip. Maybe he did. I don't know. Right. But
no, he's great at it.
But at the same time, he, obviously this is something that he has thought about to a great extent. But then also understanding and saying, hey, I'm not sitting here saying that I am a terrible, bad person. I understand, and I have people that are part of that are members of the community that back me up on what I'm saying here, or understand that I'm an ally, not an enemy of this particular group of people. But Zach is in the house. How you doing, man? Are you Zachary Hunt as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me remove that, because I thought, okay, where you calling in from?
Indiana.
Indiana, man. What's on your mind? Speak on it, bro.
I'm gonna give a point that I don't think a lot of people are really giving at all. Like, I think that the Black comedians probably done more for the LGBTQ community than anybody else. Because if you look back, like in the 90s, when it was probably the most controversial to even be out, let alone do a character, you had Martin Lawrence, Eddie Murphy, like Big Boy, Wayans, yeah, like every and at a time when it was not, like, in terms of Hollywood, a good idea for them to do that.
Agreed.
But it's like, like, we wouldn't even have, like, probably we didn't have Queer as Folk, like none of these shows catered towards LGBTQ till they were doing all this, like, and they weren't even doing the roles as like making fun of the person. Like Big Mama's House at its core is just about, he falls in love, like settles himself down, but at the same time he's kicking ass and doing drag. But like, and I mean, it's true. It's like there's never really been a character that's been like a caricature. It's always been like in good taste for the movie as well. Like, but it just seems like we're having more of a regression. Like, as the community grows, because there wasn't a lot of people that were out, but as it's become more of a norm, because I've always said, and I don't disown anybody that's like outside of just being like LGBT, because I grew up in an LGBT kind of atmosphere. Like 87 was when I was born, and like I don't know of a time when there was, like, I had a gay uncle, I got an Asian aunt. Like, I'm used to so many norms that like aren't probably in a norm for the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
But as time's grown, it's like I see more commonality of things, but more division in that. It's like,
I think
it's easy to find division.
Yeah. But it's so easy to find division. I mean, look at the world that we live in. Everything is so extremely divisive. I could sit here and say I love water, and somebody in this room, right here,
Argue about the
panel,
temperature of the water.
goes, exactly, right here,
Argue about the
panel,
temperature of the water.
goes, exactly, sit there and go, no, it ain't, it's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's wrong for you. It's bad for you. You're going to die. And it's like, what? There's parasites. It's like, what?
It's got fluoride. Like, all right.
Right. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? But I do think that, Zach, no, I appreciate it's a very strong point. I think that there's a lot of people, we tend to forget about the history. We forget the history. That's the thing. We're so quick, we as a people, right? We as a people, obviously not this group of people, not in this panel, and not in the chat, not the family, but we are so quick to shoot from the hip all the damn time that we forget the foundations in which these things are built upon. The reason why you can have somebody be free to be who they truly are had to have been established somewhere. It didn't just fall out the clear blue sky out of nowhere. Who was about to say something?
Laura, I wanted to kind of jump off of Zach's point of regression, because I feel like, me being someone that's a Generation Xer, I've had to grow and evolve with the times. And there was a time where just being supportive of your gay brother, or because I have a gay brother, and then just adding on because your world's opening up, and there was so we all learned, but at the same, and then we had the comedians, exactly like Zach was saying, and we were getting to a point where we have like the Martin Lawrence, we have Shanae, and we have stuff that's representing, and it's in our faces and everything.
Jamie Foxx on Living Color.
Yeah. And then I feel like
you also got to remember that we've been seeing men dress up sorry to say this, but dress in drag, right? Or dress as women for centuries. I mean, shoot, Romeo and Juliet. No, I'm talking about way beyond that. I'm talking about history. Romeo and Juliet were performed by two men. You know what I'm saying? And it was performed as a comedy. Every single person that played, women did not play female roles back in the day. It was men that played the female roles. So cross-dressing, let's just use that, has been around since the dawn of theater, since the dawn of acting.
Yeah.
Right? So I just want to throw that out. Like, as far as the history of it all, let's not forget that those things have been implemented forever. But go ahead, Zach.
That's why misogyny sucks. Like, misogyny got mixed up in that. Like, that's why we're still struggling. That's why I feel like we regress. Because right now we're so polarized with conservatism, and just like we have to make it so extreme now that I do feel like I'm going back to the 50s and 60s, and it's terrifying.
Well, here's kind of like what I think also at the main point, like scoping like pretty much all issues that people are divided on. We went from a time where we had more because human communication, words are like such a minuscule part of like what we perceive in a conversation. That's why YouTube, I think, works better as a format, like in Zoom conversations, because you actually see the body language, you hear the tone. Like it's easy to assume what you think. Like, your imagination can lead you in a conversation. Like, you can go into it and they could be saying like totally positive things, and you're like, oh, that's how you really feel, okay. And then like it just snowballs into something terrible over like you misconstruing what you thought somebody said, which I'm guilty of doing too. It's like you almost have to be observant of that because it's hard. We're a knee-jerk reaction society now that everything's like at our fingertips.
You can't be in the moment sometimes.
I think we've always been that, though. I mean, let's be straight funky. I mean, our whole society has always been knee-jerk. It's just that the only thing is that the knee-jerk is a lot more visible because of the platforms that exist to this day. Back in the day, when somebody did something wrong, you would have to literally, or if you thought something was unjust, you would have to rally everybody together, which would take a good while to get everybody together, unless it was something extremely terrible, right? The violence of the killing of a black man or any type of social injustice. It would take a minute to get everybody to rally together to be out there. And the funny thing is a lot of those stories wouldn't be heard or wouldn't be talked about on the news. You would just hear about it in, by word of mouth type of situation.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So
Definitely. And I think that being progressive, it's just that itself. in order to become progressive. Like that, I think that we are as a society getting more progressive instead of actually going backward.
We are, but it's like there's like this other extreme, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we are as a people, because the millennials and the Zoomers are coming of age, and the baby boomers are dying off. But there's also, we have to remember, there's going to be a transition from that. It's going to be a power struggle.
Right.
I mean, we are experiencing it right now in every part of our life, even down to comedy. That's how much this affects our lives right now.
Well, and the wealth gap between us too is like
exactly.
we're getting lower and lower as that gap at the top's getting wider and wider.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, right? Real quick, I got a super chat I want to pull up really quick before I wrap things up. Lady Justice, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. And there were a gang of other super chats, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to pull them up during this whole thing. But I do appreciate everybody for submitting their super chats and putting in their 2 cents and everything. I do appreciate every bit of support, seriously. But again, Lady Justice says some of these folks are mad at Chappelle when he walked away from the Chappelle show and no longer entertained them with his talking about groups. They were okay with being on that they were okay with being on the chopping block. I think that's what it is too. I mean, she ain't wrong with that. I think that there was a lot of people that were other groups are okay with being put on the chopping block for him to just swing at it like he's Gallagher up in this piece. Remember that? Remember Gallagher? Anyway.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, as soon as his attention turns over to the trans community, next thing you know, everyone's up in arms. And it's like, well, wait a second. He's been going after everybody for decades. So what?
Oh, yeah.
Why is this suddenly different than any other subject matter that he has touched? But anyway, guys, Shelby, Zach, Laura, I really do appreciate you guys for being on. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this.
Talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
So, when it comes to this whole thing, I mean, yes, I do believe in one thing. If you have an opinion and you feel some type of way about something, well then, dagnabbit, hey, sometimes you need to say what you need to say so you get your voice heard. I'm not going to throw shade on any person that feels any type of way about what he has said. If a conversation needs to be had with Dave Chappelle, then hey, let it be what it needs to be. Have that conversation with Dave Chappelle, with the people that want to talk to him about this, and see if this really does change anything. Because it might not change anything at all, right? The stand-up is still going to be up there, regardless if he sits there and talks to you, right? I'll be real. It's not like it's going to change his mind unless there's something really profound that is being said within that conversation that he's willing to have at a place of his own choosing and at a time of his own choosing. But I do think it's extremely important that before you jump all the way in and start going, how dare he? Watch the whole freaking thing first. In fact, watch it 3 or 4 times if you need to, so that you can see the message within the stand-up before you automatically just assume, he's phobic. Hold up. Look at it first. Take a listen. Watch the whole thing. Consume it. And see what message he's trying to say there. I guarantee you're going to see something different if you really watch it and see the forest through the trees. Real talk. Anyway, guys, it's time to get going. I really do appreciate all y'all for being on and checking out this show. If this is your first time checking out this show, we're almost at 400 likes. We got 3 more likes. Just hit that like button down below. All right. And please hit that subscribe button. Like I said, we talk about all kinds of things on this channel. Yeah, we have been covering the Brian Laundrie thing a little bit, but at the same time, we are moving on from that. Okay. We are pushing off All right, we're pushing off of that and moving on to bigger and better stories like the one we just had. I really appreciate everybody who came in to do the video panel, the panel discussion. You guys are all incredible. You know what I'm saying? We need to do those things more often, real talk. But I appreciate you guys taking in the time to jump on and chop it up with little old me, okay? I don't know if there's going to be an evening show. There might be, there might not. I'll let you guys know in the community page and on the Discord chat room as well. But as of late, there has been, I'm in the middle of doing a whole bunch of stuff right now, which, like I said, I'll explain later. I will explain later. I promise you, I will explain later. But I've been doing a lot of stuff here to get prepared for later this week. So anyway, guys, I appreciate all y'all for being on. You guys are all amazing. And here it is. Without us being able to have these difficult and uncomfortable conversations, the world will not be able to expand and grow into what it should be, a better place, right? So I appreciate all you guys willing to sit down, hear our conversations, willing to disagree, but listen as well. Or agree and listen as well, too. So I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. Anyway, it's time to get going, y'all. Be safe out there. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll be seeing you guys soon. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
Homeowners and property managers, if you're looking for effective and humane ways to remove wild animals and deal with the damage that they have caused, we have good news for you. Introducing Wildlife Command Center, a professional nuisance wildlife management company specializing in providing animal removal for residential, industrial, and commercial clients. We are the only wildlife company that checks 70 different areas on a structure to determine the answers to the following questions. Exactly which animal are we dealing with? How is the animal getting inside the home? What kind of damage is the animal doing to the structure? Once we get the answers to all of these questions, we develop and write up an action plan to resolve the animal issue completely and provide a quote to implement that action plan. We perform a very in-depth 70-point wildlife inspection. From visually inspecting the highest point, the chimney, to physically crawling inside the attic space and looking for animals, chewed wires, fecal matter, chewed structural wood. We inspect everything. Our inspection process covers all of the following 70 points: animal-proof chimney cap, roof ridge vents, roof to soffit junctions, dormer fascia, attic gable vents, gutter lines, fascia trim, garage door, utility penetrations, water, gas, electric, and cable, bathroom vents, attic roof ridge vents, attic electrical, wiring, junctions, boxes, and lighting, concrete decks, additions, wooden crawl spaces, basement plumbing, penetrations, ceiling, floor, and wall. Wildlife Command Center's mission is to deliver the finest quality wildlife removal and pest control service that is safe for the environment. For more information, call us now.